Joining me right now is Wisconsin Senator, Chairman of the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, the one who first released the report on all of these dealings a while ago. Ron Johnson is here. Senator, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here.
Good morning, Maria.
So I want to ask you really, where are we in this? But first, give me your reaction to Tony Bobulinski last night in that interview. What struck you?
Well, you played two of the most important words that he spoke yesterday. The other one was, some plausible deniability. And of course, we have one email back on May 20th, 2017, where somebody's writing, this is actually James Gillier writing to Tony Bobulinski, don't mention Joe being involved. It's only when you are face to face. I know you know that, but they are paranoid. So, yeah, they were definitely trying to set this thing up where there's plausible deniability. But I think the other important word is compromised. If there is a Biden presidency, I don't think anybody working in the White House with these types of connections would he actually get a security clearance, because those individuals would be compromised. And the other question I'd ask, Maria, this is a statement out of Joe Biden. He said not one single solitary thing was out of line, not a single thing. Well, if that's the truth, why was Vice President Biden lying? Why has he lied repeatedly about never talking to Hunter about his overseas business, which now we know there are multiple cases that have proven that that is one big fat lie?
You've done all the research and you've been studying this now for a couple of years. What do you think was going on here, Senator? We have a list of these deals that we're going to show. And, one deal is the $5 million that went to a Hunter Biden company from CEFC. That is the Chinese company. Another deal was the $3.5 million wire transfer that Hunter Biden accepted from the former mayor's wife of Moscow, Yelena Baturina. And then he creates a $1 billion investment fund, BHR, with the state-owned Bank of China, just weeks after traveling on Air Force Two with Joe Biden, then sitting vice president, to meet these guys from the Bank of China. And they give him $1.5 billion total. And then, of course, he's received all this money by being on the board of Burisma, $83,000 a month, totaling $4.3 million. What were they doing deals like this before Joe Biden was vice president?
Yeah, absolutely. There's plenty of evidence on the public record. And back when the news media actually might have been more in favor of, let's say, Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders, back in August of 2019, Politico actually kind of wrote about a 20-page story about Biden Inc., and basically documenting how James Biden and Hunter Biden had been trying to profit off the Biden name for years while Joe Biden was senator. They really seemed to crack the code about 2013, 2014, though, with the Burisma deal. Obviously, you talked about the transfer from the widow of the former mayor of Russia, and then all the entanglements within China. So they really figured out exactly how to make money off the Biden name, and basically knew how to use his influence to hoover up that money. So this is obvious what was happening. It's just another scandal, the way the news media is completely ignoring this story. And this story's not going away, Maria. It's not going away.
Well, is it? It shouldn't go away. And now a growing number of Republican senators are calling for Attorney General Bill Barr to appoint a special counsel to investigate Hunter Biden. I've got that story that you mentioned from Politico right here. It's Biden Inc. From Politico. And you're right, it was August 2019. Over his decades in office, Politico writes, middle-class Joe's family fortunes have closely tracked his political career. Do you want to see a special counsel?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of special counsels, but if Joe Biden wins the presidency, I don't see how you avoid one. Otherwise, this is going to be tucked away. We will never know what happened. All this evidence is going to be buried. So I think we'd have to have a special election if Joe Biden wins. But here's another question, Maria. John Solomon has a great article taking a look at Joe Biden's tax returns, where he reports $16 million of income since he left office, but his financial disclosure only shows $3.2 million in assets. John talked to a tax advisor, said that his net worth ought to be at least $9 million. Where did the other $6 million go? I'm hoping people are starting to take a look in, the Caribbean, the Cayman Islands, that type of thing, to find out, where might that $6 million be tucked away? Inquiring minds want to know.
Do you believe the Bidens have an account in the Cayman Islands?
I have no idea, but again, I'm just questioning. If you make $60 million in income, you've only got $3.2 million to show for it. Either you are one enormous big spender or something's happened. And again, there's just so many financial entanglements. There's just so much buried. Our report, it just scratched the surface. It just raised troubling questions. It didn't answer, all the questions by a long shot. But again, we need the investigative press to start looking into this thing. I simply don't have the resources. It took us months under a great deal of resistance from all these agencies trying to get some information. But we just laid out, really the questions. And quite honestly, people like Tony Bobulinski, when he saw a report, I think one of the things that really prompted him to come forward is he saw that $5 million that should have gone into Sinohawk went directly to the Bidens. I think that kind of upset him, together with the fact that Adam Schiff lied again. I think that really came across, in last night's interview. That really was sort of the straw that broke Tony's back there when you had not only Adam Schiff, then you have these 50 former intelligence officials writing a cover letter for Joe Biden. No evidence whatsoever, but they used the Russian interference canard one more time to divert America's attention from all this potential wrongdoing. Say, oh, it was just Russian disinformation. Nothing could be further from the truth in this case.
Well, we've heard from John Ratcliffe, the sitting director of national intelligence, and he told us that weeks ago that this is not, in fact, any Russian disinformation. Real quick, I just asked you, they didn't do deals before the vice president was in his position. You say they cracked the code in 2014. So in other words, they were not doing deals with foreign companies before Joe Biden was vice president. Is that right?
Well, I don't know. I don't have evidence of it, but we really started finding evidence of it 2013, 2014, the Burisma, the Russia deal, all the entanglements with China. It sure seemed like that was a point in time. It was a famous trip that Hunter took with Joe Biden in December 2013. A couple of weeks later, BHR finally got the license to do business, and that was that $1 billion plus investment fund that Joe Biden shook the hands of Jonathan Lee, the main investor of that fund, and again, claims that I never talked to Hunter about his overseas business deals. I mean, just a bold-faced lie.
Unbelievable. What really bothers me is the fact that they rush through approvals so Chinese companies can acquire American companies. That's all we talk about on this program, how China is eating our lunch. And here you have this partnership because they're lining their pockets with millions, just saying, oh, get the approval for China to acquire our intellectual property. Senator, it's good to see you. Thank you. We'll keep following it. And certainly we are here following this story and will not suppress it. Senator, thank you. We'll be right back.